Okay, so I'm back in the spreadsheet again. So after now explaining what vlookup actually will be doing within the spreadsheet using the web page, we have to know what we're looking for. We have to know what table of data we have, and then we have to know what column we want to return back for the vlookup. So in our case, what we'll be doing is looking for the loan type. So come over here, let's move this across a little bit. So we'll be looking at loan type. It still hasn't gone across. Okay, there we go. Loan type. So loan type will have to match a particular value within a table, and then what we want back is the commission rate that is applicable for that particular loan type to be paid for this to the staff member, and that has to be in the reference sheet, right? So let's have a look in the reference sheet. If I go across, you notice here loan type, right? So here is my table. So effectively my web page, right? And I know from this table that it's got two columns. You've got column 1, column 2. This table could actually go right across to like 50 columns, so it could be a huge table. And you could say, if you found a certain type of loan type, give me column 20 back. Column 20 might have some kind of GST value or something corresponding to it, right? But in this case, we're only working with two columns, so we'll be looking for a loan type, and then we'll be returning the value in column 2 to get the commission, which is payable to the commission rate payable to the salesperson, right? So this is our table. This is our lookup value, our table, which we'll have to highlight, and then the column number which we want to return, right? So let's try it. Here we go. VLOOKUP. So it's a standard bonus here, and we'll go insert, and I'll type VLOOKUP to look for it, double click to get it in. Okay, and here are the parameters which we just discussed, right? The last parameter, lookup range, I'll explain briefly, but you'll have to experiment with that later on in the tute. But in this case, so lookup value, the lookup value must be on the same row as the function, right? So there's our function. So on this row, the lookup value will be one of these items, right? So we know it's the home loan type. So I'm going to go over here, and it's the loan type. Still hasn't come across. There it is, right? So I know I'm working on the first row, so I'm looking for this value. So click. You notice it says value, so it's not doing ranges, it's a single click, okay? And in this case, we want it to be dynamic. We do not want to lock this, because when we do the fill, we want to actually do the next calculation, next calculation, next calculation. So it'll increment to C3, C4, and so forth as we do the fill on the calculation side, right? So we're looking for whatever's in C2. Now we have to say, where is our table of data? So we go back to the reference, and we highlight the table. You notice I'm highlighting the table without the heading. It's only the data, right? So only the data. And in this case, you should already know we're not looking for this table region to actually move down, so increment. So we want to lock it in place, which means in Control F4. Right? There it goes. So Command F4 or whatever, probably on Apples, but it's the F4 key, or yeah, click on F4 on the top. Now I've got it locked in that area, and you can see it's actually worked. It's got commercial 0.4, home loan, and it just keeps going. So it's commercial 0.4. So I know it's actually working for me. If this value is found, which is home loan, so look for it here. What column index number do we want back, right? So in this case, it's column 2, right? Not column 2. So if I click in here, I go 2, right? And the last parameter is either a true or a false, right? So for what we want, because we want to actually match or say, is that value in the first column the same as this value, which is home loan? So we don't want to match on home loans or some other like car type or something like that. We want home loan to be matched. It has to be an exact match. And the rule of thumb is whatever your lookup value is in here, if it's got text in it, so it has like HOM123, you know, tech like code like BB347 or something rather. As soon as it has text in it, this guy here is automatically false. Right? Extremely rare to be true. Right? Now, true is used for things like if we're looking for like a decimal number. So if I had in here, the lookup value could be anything like 0.1, 0.111, 0.5, 0.2, which is like an infinite range. We want to have a varying lookup region, which we would put in here true, right? So if I was looking up for decimal numbers, it's immediately true here. Otherwise, our table would have to be infinitely large, right, to cover all the different options for the numbers. But in this case, it's got text, so we do false. And you notice the secondary test, it's already found a value. It's actually worked for me. So there are no errors in here, no NAs and so forth. So I accept that. And here now, you notice we've actually calculated the commission rate which is applicable for the first guy. So let's do the double click of the fill. So I'm just going to double click here. Okay. And it's actually found the commission rate payable to all of the staff here. Okay. But what we want to do is we want to, as per the instructions, we want to actually multiply this by whatever the sales revenue is. Right? So they actually get a commission of the sales revenue. Right? So this formula here is not actually complete because we've only got the commission. We want to see how many dollars they've actually earned. So I'm going to complete the formula by adding to it, saying multiplied by the sales value. And once again, we don't want this locked, or we don't want this absolute, because we want it to increment down the rows as we go with all the corresponding functions. Right? So we leave that as it is with that multiply. And there it is. There's the commission, the standard bonus that's actually going to be paid for that particular loan type to the staff member. So we can just fill that, double click. And here we go. We've got all the bonuses for all the staff. Calculated using a vlookup and multiplying the sales revenue to get the actual effective dollar value. Right. All right. Now we're ready to actually find what is the total bonus. And the total bonus will be the very last part. Is just a basic formula. All we have to do is add the two together. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is in here say equals. And you notice I'm not typing, you know, T2 plus Excel's about clicking cells, right? So minimize your typing. So I want to add that plus that, enter. And once again, we want these guys to be relative, right? Not locked, absolute. So we just double click here. Now I have the total bonus payable to all staff. So some of these guys, because they've gone over $1 million paid, they get the extra bonuses. Right? All right. I hope that helped. Catch you in the next one.